Colton RV creates fantastic memories that will change your life forever. Have you dreamed of getting into glamping in your own RV? Colton RV can help you take that step into the future with a new or used RV. Talk with a Colton RV team member online, by phone, or in person and see hundreds of RVs, from tent trailers to motorhomes and everything in between. It's all about great selection, unequaled service, and low prices. Open late at 2 convenient locations, one in Tonawanda and one in Orchard Park, New York. Now is the time to see the future at Colton RV.
Want to take your camping to the next level? Then why not try glamping? Welcome to RV Glamping Adventures, where you can have a little glamour with your travel adventures. Please join your hosts, Neil and Kathy, as they share RV glamping information, RV park reviews, product recommendations, and so much more. Here's Neil and Kathy.
Hi everybody, welcome to another episode of RV Glamping Adventures with Neil and Kathy. I'm Neil.
And I'm Kathy. We're really busy right now. We're getting really down on this countdown.
How much time do we have left?
Well, looking at the app this morning, I think we're down to 21 days till we leave.
Days.
Yes, 21 days till we're out of here.
And then we're gone for quite a while on this
about
one.
half a month. So we got lots going on. Things are starting at, every now and then I keep these apps on the phone. So, the countdown app.
Yeah.
So it keeps me on point because, we're busy right now. It's a busy time of year. A couple of the kids are winding down in school. Our schools up here go till like about the third week of June with exams and everything. And we're just busy at banquets and, there's just been so much going on. The calendar is so crazy.
We've been busy at work and we're trying to get everything together before we go away. And
so there's just so much to do. Yeah, so we got checklists going. We got lots going on. But it's good to have that countdown to keep me focused on keeping the eye on the prize.
There you go.
Keeping the eye on the prize.
It just keeps me organized.
But then it kind of makes me panic because I just always will feel like, I got to get this, we got to do this. Like, we're not ready.
We're totally ready.
We couldn't just leave today.
No. Well, we couldn't because nothing's ready.
That's my point. So, we're telling our patients, we're kind of getting that. Because, you can't, in our lives, because we're self-employed, we can't just take off.
Yeah.
We have to let our patients know we're leaving, give them lots of warning. They want to come in a few times before we go because it's always funny to me because they always act like we're never coming back.
When are you coming back?
We have to.
Yeah.
It's how we afford to do what we do.
Everything's here.
Yeah. So, we've just got a lot going on. So I did want to start, though. I had a nice email from a lady on Facebook.
Oh, nice.
And her name is Susan.
Hi,
and
Susan.
I just want to say thank you, Susan, for the feedback. And what Susan wrote was, and I quote, "Totally enjoying your podcast. Thanks for sharing.
Nice.
Currently listening to number 157 and recommend RV lock for the door lock."
Oh.
So that definitely has convinced me, that we need to do this. She says, we put ours on in 20 to 30 minutes. We actually had to use the Dremel tool to shave the door down just a tad. Hope that helps. Keep up the great job, and I will be listening. Have fun. So that made me feel like, people can do this. We can do this.
Well, I went afterwards, and thank you, Susan, for that.
Thanks,
you gave us encouragement. So
we need it.
We really appreciate it. But I went looking afterwards, and I found a few different products out there that are pretty easy to attach and to do.
Yeah.
And I think, it's some of them say 30 minutes.
So this probably should be, I was thinking, we were actually talking this morning, Neil, about, we still need to get, what do we need to get before the trip besides the obvious food, things like that. But, we just bought a tow dolly.
Yes, we did.
So we were talking this morning and last night about we want to get some locks for it. I'm very concerned that somebody could very easily just take off with that. And it's, it's close to $2,000 piece of equipment.
Yeah,
and I don't want to be stuck without one. And I think
and then if we're stuck without it, I'm sorry for interrupting, but if we're stuck without it, that'd be so hard to get the car home.
Well, that's my thing, and I don't want to have to go buy another one. So we thought, I don't know if this will really curb that. I do really trust other RVers.
Absolutely.
But, you never know, and I'd rather be safe than sorry. So we talked about getting 2 different kinds of protection.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I talked to a guy that we know who's had a tow dolly, and he said you can do one of 2 things. We're going to get, number one, I really want to get a wheel lock. So I've looked up the wheel lock, so that should help chock the wheel. It's like a boot. And it should make it so nobody can really drive away with it without really making a ton of noise and messing things up. So nobody really will do that once it's locked. The other thing he had talked about too, and I like this one, this is from our friend Andy. He mentioned that you just get a regular deadbolt, and it has a spot where you lock it onto where the ball attachment goes. So they can't really just attach it to their own truck and drive away.
Can't you just cut it though? Like if somebody really wanted it.
Yeah, but you know what? We're going to be in places where there's people around all the
Yeah.
time. So if they really want it, sure.
Yeah.
But we're not going to be in a place like that.
I've heard some people even chaining it to something. Like,
we could do that too.
You know, so I don't want to be overzealous here, but you know, there's just, and also we want to give you guys some ideas too, and maybe you have some. Let us know. We'd love to
if
hear
you guys
back.
have ideas on that stuff, we could really use
But
it.
that got me thinking too. We also would like to maybe do a video if we think about getting that the door lock for this trip.
Oh yeah.
That could be something too that we in the next 3 weeks, 3 weeks that we need to probably do.
Yeah, I would love to do that.
So put that on the checklist.
You got it.
Okay. So what we wanted to talk about today.
So just so we get
Yeah.
back to this, the
Yes.
door lock, we're talking about keyless entry.
Yeah, oh right.
We didn't say that.
Keyless entry door lock.
A keyless entry.
I guess I'm assuming everybody's listening to every single episode, hanging on our every word.
must know.
They must know.
You must.
And they can read our minds.
But we have a door lock, like most RVs come with locked doors.
Yeah.
And but we've had issues with once we locked the keys inside accidentally, and that was awful.
Yeah.
And also with us 6 people coming and going now, the kids are at the age where they just maybe they don't want to be around or they're tired. They go back on their own. They could just use a code and
we
get in.
can all go off our separate ways sometimes, which is a good little break here and there,
Yeah.
and then we reconnect. But everybody can just know the code and get in. So I think that's something we're going to invest in, and we'll do a little video on that. And
I like that.
We'll speed it up. We won't make it because probably if it took Susan 30 minutes, it might take us 60.
Oh, I'm planning on at least an hour and a half.
So we'll get Olivia to do the editing on that.
Oh, there you
She's
go.
really good at that. So we thought today, because someone else had asked me, and it was more like somebody made a comment on something on Facebook, and it got me thinking about the topic for today's show, which we're going to be talking about what we do to plan for our trips. They were just looking for ideas like, it's our first trip. What would you want us to know? Help, just giving us some advice and that kind of thing. And I thought it would be kind of good because we're in that mode right now. Let's talk about what it takes to go from point A to point B, how we come up with the idea to actually hitting the road and getting out there, and sort of what our process is. Everybody's got their own way of doing things.
But this is how we do it.
This is the type A OCD.
Yes. So hang on, it's going to be a ride.
It's a bumpy ride. So I guess we'll just kind of start with how do we come up with the ideas? Well, we come up with our plans, really, we start thinking the year before.
Easy.
We might be doing, and it's not because we're like, oh, what are we, but it's so much fun for us. We love RVing that we're thinking about what else are we going to do? What's next for us? And it's not that we're not enjoying the moment, because I really like to try to be present, be in the moment, enjoy each trip.
And that's a hard thing to do, I think. Number one is we get older, but number two is our lives are busy. It's just to enjoy the moment.
Yeah, and we do have to do a lot of planning to
Yeah.
make this all work. I mean, to get away for almost 2 months a year, it is, it takes some work. So, and there's so much to explore. I mean, we haven't even gotten, I don't even know, quarter of the way of where I want to be going with all of this.
No.
Ultimately, we talked, West Coast up to Alaska, all over the place. So
right now, we're East Coasters.
Yeah, up and down, and we're heading more Midwestern. We're getting
we're working
the
on
more
it.
time we can. And ultimately we're heading all the way up to Alaska.
Absolutely.
So those are the goals. So we really start planning quite a bit ahead.
Yes.
Like the season might be coming to an end. All right, what are we doing next year? And we really will sit down. First of all, we just sit down with the family and say, where do you guys want to go? And we just sort of brainstorm ideas. And, I want everybody to have a say. Like, well, here's some thoughts. What about this? Sometimes it's going back to places. Sometimes it's trying new places. And then, where we're at in our lives is talking about their kids and their schedules, because they don't.
Tough.
We have to work around that, and we're trying to do trips still that include as many of our kids as possible, because we have 2 adults now.
Yeah.
So we're hanging on to every moment we can get, and so that takes a lot of communication and conversation. So we really try to, first and foremost, just sit down and go, okay, guys, what's your schedule? Where do you guys want to go? What's on everybody's mind? And then just see where that takes us.
I mean, we've been very lucky that our kids have really, some of them actually have worked their schedule around ours to be able to make it to go with the trip with us. They
They'll
like it that much.
sacrifice a couple bucks that
Yeah.
they want to make just to make sure that they're in on our trips and having fun with us. So that's really great.
At 19 and 22, they still want to be included, and that's really
awesome.
I'm really grateful for that.
I know. I honestly never would have thought. I thought they'd hit 18 and we're doing this or we're on our own or whatever. And these 2 are living on their own. One's
they're
graduated
on their own,
college. The other one is in college but living on his own. Really independent, and we love that. But they still want to come back and do these trips with us.
Did you
It's
travel
great.
with your parents around?
Last trip that I had, we did it was just myself. My brother wasn't along. He was on his own, and he didn't come on this trip, but we went on a 2-week trip before I went off to college.
Yeah.
And I was 18, and that was the last
That was it.
time, other than what we've done in our adult years when we've tried to include them on
Yeah,
a few
we've taken
trips.
them with us on stuff, yeah.
So,
So this is rare.
I think so.
Yeah.
I think so. People are always amazed. Do all the kids? Which kids are going on this trip? Are they all going? And they can't always. You know, I mean, Mitchell has to work. There's a couple trips he's not able to go on. Definitely, we're having all 6 of us are on this next trip coming up because we are going down to visit our oldest son, who, by the way, is currently here visiting. Came home for a week, which has been great. And he's playing tourist at home.
I know, it's so funny. We've hit every local Western New York
it's like he's never
attraction.
been here before.
Yeah.
But there's stuff that he's missing that he has wanted. You know, he's living down in Orlando and he's loving it. But it's nice to come home.
But the funny thing is, I've been thinking about this. Some of the stuff he wants to do is stuff he'd never wanted to do when he lived here. It's like, really,
so
you
we're
want to
having
do this?
fun. We've been kind of doing a staycation.
It's kind of fun.
And trying to work, but also
and trying to plan.
entertaining him and enjoying his company while he's here. So, you know, the bond continues. Like, I just think based on all the travel we've done, everything, it's just made our family so much tighter.
And even though we're going down to Florida, he's taking a week off of this.
Right.
So he's taking his week off of work to hang out with us full time for that trip.
Yeah.
Which is kind of nice because last time we were down there just a couple months ago, he would have to, and I didn't realize this till afterwards, but our dinner reservations were at 6:30, and he would work and leave work at 5, and because of Orlando traffic, he would almost miss out on dinner because he would be.
So
it
it
would
was
take
pretty
him an hour,
exhausting
an
for
hour and a half.
him.
Yeah.
So he's going to be tourist. We're going to do the reverse there. He's going to take the week off and
It'll be nice.
play tourist with us.
When he'd show up grumpy, I was like, wow, he must have had a bad day at work. And he's like, then I found out, I honestly found out when we got home that he was driving.
Really?
Yeah, nobody told me.
Oh.
Found out he was like traveling an hour and a half to be with us. I was like, wow.
Yeah, people.
And stop traffic.
Those of you who know Orlando and know the 4, it is brutal, not just with tourists, but rush hour, and he works on the other side of downtown. So to get to
It's
Disney,
usually 20 minutes.
20 minutes was taking him almost an hour.
Yeah.
So, you know, we're not used to that up here in Buffalo. We don't get traffic like
No,
that.
not like
so,
that. No.
You know, it's something that's unique to certain more metropolis type areas.
Correct.
So anyway, what we do, point 1 would be definitely sitting down with the family and just trying to decide, pinpoint, and then sort of boiling that down to exactly what can we do and how can we make it fit in. And it's just really, I think, takes a lot of communication and compromise.
Absolutely.
Because we can't do everything.
Right.
And so it's trying to come to some consensus on what does everybody want to do. And, you know, and honestly, it's not even that difficult. Usually they're really easygoing.
Oh, yeah, our kids, you know what? Yeah, they are the most easygoing guys
They're
you're
like,
going to meet.
whatever.
Yeah, if you want to we're going to make this for dinner. Okay. Like, you never hear complaints about anything.
No, and you know, so it's not a real tough thing for them, but we want them to be included in, like, you know, what kind of plans are coming up. So we do that pretty early on, and then, you know, we want to get into by January of that year, we're booking.
Oh, easy. By January. I was going to say, when we start doing all this sitting down, it's almost like a couple weeks after we've winterized the RV. So we're already on to the next.
I think of most conversations, like even Christmas Day, when all the family's here, we're talking about this.
Yeah, where are we going?
So what are we doing next year? Because in a couple of weeks we start booking, you know, just to make sure we get the sites. And, you know, then what do we do next is once we've kind of come up with our plan, if we basically, even if it's places we've gone back to before, we still will research.
You have to research. That's the big thing for us.
I really, you know, I don't think we've gone anywhere without researching the heck out of something.
No, I've even
You've
gone
got
as
to do
far.
your research.
I don't know if you know this about me, but I'm going to let you in on a secret. I've even gone as far as looking at Google Earth.
You don't think I know this?
Okay, I'm hoping. I was hoping you didn't, but I even go to Google Earth and I look at the broad picture, like if we're going to go someplace, what's around us, and that just makes it kind of sound weird.
That's kind of based on, you know, there's often campgrounds are close to railroads, trains go by.
That's why I do it.
So you might be, and you see that on the Google Earth map. And, you know, you want to see what the neighborhood is like.
We stayed at a campground one time, and I will not mention the name, but we found out after because we were going left out of the campground. One time we went right out of the campground, and it was like...
Massive dump. Yeah.
We were like, wow, there's a lot of birds here.
No, it was seagulls.
Seagulls.
And, you know, now it was close to a lake, but it didn't make sense for the number of. We're like, wow, there's just a lot of seagulls.
Tons of seagulls.
It wasn't even a quarter mile down the road.
No.
The other way was the local landfill.
Yeah. It was bad.
And we're like, oh.
Yeah.
So that would have been helpful to see.
And that's not why I do it.
And that perhaps would have deterred us from, honestly, it would have deterred us from going there. I don't want to stay that close to a dump.
I mean, it was a nice
big
campground,
landfill.
but
It was a
it's
very
just
nice campground, but I'm not comfortable with that.
Yeah, location means a lot when you plan your campground.
Location. So first one, research.
It.
I'm sorry, planning your trip. That takes compromise. Secondly, research. That is all about, to me, location.
I'd have to say one of the biggest things we use when we're researching is TripAdvisor.
I use that all the time for everything, from campgrounds. People think, oh, you've got to go to some campground type site.
No.
But we have, and you can. There's lots out there. They're popping
use that
up.
Too.
It's definitely a niche, and people are coming up with apps for that all over the place. And people are contributing to them, and I love that kind of feedback. But I've always done very well on TripAdvisor. And as with all of them, you can look up, it's not just for the campgrounds. We'll start with that, like let's find our campground if it's not one. And I will even check if it's one we went to a couple years ago. This year for 2016 is a year we're going back at a couple campgrounds that we haven't been to in 3-4 years.
Yeah.
What's changed, So I think that's important to go back and look what are people saying in the last 6 months. Sometimes there's new management and things can go downhill.
Totally. And
what a disappointment that would be.
In TripAdvisor, you'll get the most recent comments and
they pop up first.
When you go to look under TripAdvisor, they have their hotels and restaurants, but you have to look at what's the tab? It's for like other under like kind of like the bed and breakfast area kind of. It's under other accommodations, and then you'll find the campgrounds, or else you can specifically search for it by that name.
I'll actually just Google when I go in. I'll just put in before I won't even necessarily go through the app. I'll just Google TripAdvisor, RV campgrounds, whatever, DC.
Well,
and
that's a good way to do it, too.
It pops that page up, and so I can get right to that, and it'll give you the most recent first. And there's always going to be naysayers.
Can I just say our minds work totally different?
Well, we get to the same place. We have a different way of getting there.
My way of doing it is you go to TripAdvisor, go to this town you want to go to, look at other accommodations, and it lists it your way. It's just quicker.
I'm efficient.
It's like, boom.
I am ridiculously efficient.
I got 4 or 5 clicks to your 2. So.
It's scary efficient.
But I agree with what you're saying. To get back to it, sometimes you'll get somebody saying something on TripAdvisor that really isn't warranted. At times.
You can just...
Or it was for them, maybe.
Yeah, I mean, people have bad experiences. So if there was 10 out of 10 bad experiences, I'm not going to go there. Yeah. If there's one guy, gal saying, rah, 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 you can just tell. Guys, there's always someone who's going to be a complainer. And they will find, it wasn't level enough and the sky wasn't the right color blue. Yeah. You can't fix that. That's whatever. When I'll tell you what I love too, and I've seen this on multiple sites. I love when the RV campground will respond to them.
Correct. That's
awesome. They go. I don't know how they go looking, and there must be some. I wonder if they have some way of finding this, but
it must flag that somebody's commenting.
Or they just go looking and keep on top of it, and they respond to that and saying, "Gosh, we wish you would have come to us when we could have made your stay better." That happened with Beverly Beach Campground down in Flagler, Florida, and it was our first time going there. We're going back there on this trip as well as one of our stops. I am so excited. I wish we could go earlier and spend more time. But when we contacted them and they actually posted. I know you want to leave sooner. They actually have been reposting, because one of our big memes it's probably gotten the biggest hits over the last year and a half of blogging and having our Facebook page. I have this picture that was taken at Flagler at Beverly Beach Campground, and it says that the RV is one thing you can buy. Oh my gosh, what is this saying? It's one thing you can buy that...
It's basically priceless.
It's priceless. Something like that.
And that picture, I think I took that picture, right?
Yeah, it's just this random picture you took.
I just was walking and I'm like, oh, that's cute. Click, and kept walking. And you actually doctored it up a little bit. You changed you added a filter. No, you added just a little bit of color to it. And it's a great picture. And all of our experience that we had when we were at Beverly Beach was excellent. I had back then. We didn't see.
Okay, let me say the saying. So
go ahead.
An
Go ahead.
RV is one thing you can buy that can make you richer.
Nice.
There it is.
There you go.
And it's just this picture, just looking down the beach, and I know it's been updated because it was sort of this grassy area, and then I guess now they've got a walkway or they.
Yeah, it was. I
can't wait to see it. I'm going to do an updated picture. We're going to take the same picture, or wherever we're staying. We're right on the waterfront. But we're going to have to do an update of that.
We're going to have to do an update. Absolutely.
But we had, anyway, getting back to the point, we had looked up reviews for this place,
right. And
because they were not great.
They weren't great.
And I guess and we had noticed that there was new management, and again, that's why you got to look. We hadn't been there before, so looking back, people weren't real happy.
Right.
And the owner kept coming on and saying, "Hey guys, we're under new management," and very friendly sounding, very nice tone. Hard to tell with those kinds of things, but I was impressed by that. And
Absolutely.
not that you and I were willing to give it a chance.
And so then when we got there and we got to actually meet the staff, they were lovely.
They were super
attentive. Their store is cool.
It's just a fantastic.
Nice.
And
it was nice.
I know that was when you actually looked at the Google Map.
Oh, I totally
the Earth
did.
View, yeah.
I did, yeah.
And looking around, because there wasn't a whole lot around. It
No.
was a nice little, I don't know.
It's a nice town.
Little area, yeah. And things to do, but we were really just there kind of like we were going to be doing on this trip, sort of in passing, just staying for a night, 2 days, and just getting a little bit of that kind of R&R to kick off the trip. But, that was a big thing for us that changed our mind from a lot of people, the year before saying, it's not good, keep moving. And this guy, he's brought it back because they're growing, and I know their customer service has taken it to the next level. But that kind of research, like look what that did for us, it helped us to find a spot that maybe we would have passed by. And we did look at different sites for that. We talked to people. We get ideas from, not just apps and whatnot. Motorhome Magazine is a great one.
Going back to what you were saying, though, I was just we dug deeper in our research.
Yes,
and I think that's something that there's a lot of places that put a lot of work in it. It's not easy to own an RV park. Some places care more than others, but we wouldn't have known if we didn't do some more research on that place. It came up, we would have gone like, great location, great park, great people,
and we're going back again.
Yeah, you have to give it a chance. I think sometimes, and only through looking through the research. Like read between the lines a little bit, I guess is what I'm trying to say.
Because we don't often like to, just the community that we live in, it's very much like you don't do things around here that you don't know someone else who went there.
Yes.
So that's just like our mentality.
Yeah.
And we've gone to campgrounds that people have told us about as well. And that's always, I'm thinking of when we go to D.C.
Yeah, that was a great one.
We go to Cherry Hill. We found Cherry Hill's a great park to go stay at if you're going to D.C. Also going there on this trip.
A friend of ours was, his daughter was going to the University of Maryland, and it's right there. And he says, "Oh yeah, I drove by." So then we went looking, and
he stayed. Well, a few people. I'm
we know
thinking
other
of Larry.
people.
Yeah. So he actually used to stay there, and it was like 20 years ago. Yeah. And so we did our research on that too, because again, 20 years is a long time. Things can change. And it's a fantastic park that's just growing and growing. It's such a resort. It's so cool. It's a really great park. So we do a lot of research, and not just for the actual, you can go TripAdvisor, Woodall's, Good Sam, RV Park Reviews. We look at, every month we get Motorhome Magazine.
Oh, love Motorhome Magazine.
That's given us ideas for parks because they might do hey, check this place out. We go back to the oldies but goodies, but we'll still do research, like I said, to see if it's been, if it's gone downhill or whatever.
And the nice thing about going to the old parks again that I don't know if we touched on is our kids now, they've gotten older. And so when we've gone to something 4 or 5 years ago, their experiences are for, I'm thinking Olivia, who's 13. At 8 years old, she might not have had the same experience.
She doesn't really even remember.
She doesn't remember some things, yeah. So we're going to hit something new, and they're going to be like, oh. But it's not new. It's it's older to us.
Or we do. We try to make every trip different. So even as many times we've been to Disney, the trips are never the same.
No, they're never the same.
So it's a new experience. And some of the research leads to that. Okay, what are we going to make this trip different with this time? Let's go to this restaurant. Let's try this activity. One of the things when we go down to Orlando this year, we're hitting the beach and we're going into Orlando for I think it's 11 days or so. And we have a car with us this time. So we're going to Kennedy Space Center. We're going to, I've always wanted to go to Gatorland. I've seen the signs. Because we did some research, we're going to be going and doing a ropes course through Gatorland.
Yeah,
we're not just going and walking
Yeah.
through. We're doing the zip line through Gatorland over the alligators.
God, I
and
hope I
whatnot.
don't fall in.
Well, again, the review state is quite safe.
Yeah, well, good.
And very reasonably priced.
Yeah.
So we're finding other activities, and then we're lucky enough to have our son living down there that's found a couple other restaurants, and we want to go eat where the locals are, going to and checking out some
He
spots
told us
like
this
that.
place has the best tacos. So
Yeah, we got
we'll
to check
try
out this
that,
one
yeah.
Mexican place he was telling us about. So, in doing the research, not just for the campgrounds, we're also looking at, like we're talking about right now, things to do. In the past, it's also a lot of our research, because it's just this year we bought the tow dolly.
Right, yeah.
A big thing for me was, how are we going to get around? Because we don't stay at the campground. We go, it's our hotel on wheels. We go looking. We're out there to go see.
We're exploring.
explorers,
And
yeah.
I don't think, would you call us a tourists or travelers?
I think we do both.
I think we're both travelers.
We're traveling tourists.
Ooh.
So,
We need a banjo.
we're doing, you get your own banjo. We do a lot of research. Okay, now we found a spot. Like, it'll be, all right, this is where we're going to stay. Now what's there to do?
Yeah.
And then we do a whole lot of research. We bring some food with us, of course, to save money, but what are good restaurants? Where are the locals eating? Again, I kind of go back to TripAdvisor on that, because they'll give like the top 10 restaurants. And I don't want to go to the chains or the tourist places. I want to go to the mom and pop places where they're making real food and like local cuisine.
Farm to table.
Yeah, and just what are they doing there? I want to go check it out.
One thing that we've done too is when we get to a campground, I was thinking like in Destin, we went up and asked them, where do you eat?
Yeah.
And we found a couple. They gave us about 4 or 5 places, and then when we were other places, we're like, where do you guys eat?
Yeah, so some stuff
So
we
it's
don't
off the
plan
path.
everything to a T. There is some whimsy involved in this.
Oh, yeah.
But we are kind of like, all right, here's some options. So like on this night when we have nothing going on, but then we'll go and talk to people once we actually get to the actual campground.
Yeah, as much as we plan, and everything's kind of like can be loose.
Yeah.
But
I want options. So
our life is so well planned out, our day-to-day stuff. We live on calendars and schedules that when we go on vacation, we are kind of flexible.
Kinda.
Within a skeletal, rigid framework.
Well, because we go with goals. We've sat down and talked about what everybody wants to hit. We found some cool stuff to do when we go there. And we always want to soak up as much as we can while we're there, because we have this much time.
But if there's a new local restaurant that we didn't plan for, we'll go to it.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
I also like to do the research, because in that aspect, you find coupons, you find deals.
Yeah,
if
you
we
do.
can, we use the entertainment book up here in our area, and there's stuff in there that is for travel, too.
Yeah.
So take a look in there. Like, there's stuff for Orlando in our book from Buffalo, New York.
Yeah.
So go looking and go online and see if there's deals. Sometimes, like when we go to New York, you can buy this is not something we've done, because we'll just hit a couple of these things, but you can get like a 5 attraction pass and,
Right.
and prepay it, so you can just like go and show up and hop on, hop off the buses and do whatever. So
we did
do
that
some
for
research.
Williamsburg when we were there.
And you
that
save,
was cool.
you could save $10 a person. Well, for us, times 6, that saves us a lot. There's dinner.
That's pretty good. Yeah.
So that helps a lot. But
Or some of our kids' snacks.
Right. But we had to do a lot in the past looking for, transportation, how do we get around? And that would also have a lot to do with where we were going to stay.
Yeah.
Because there's campgrounds like Cherry Hill had public transportation
The
that
bus
was very
comes
good.
right through it.
And it would take you right through the metro,
Yeah.
the subway line to get into D.C. So that was part of our planning, how are we going to get around? This time's going to be, I just feel like so different, because now we're going to have a car with us. And we don't have to worry about that. I do like when you go to Disney, I do like being bussed around.
Oh, yeah.
But I loved, last time we went, Ian brought the car. It was so much quicker just to let's go quick over to Magic Kingdom.
Right.
Instead of waiting for the bus. I mean, it does slow things down, and that's good. But it's also nice to it's pouring rain. We don't have to wait for the bus too long. There's the car.
I was mostly thinking it was pouring rain.
Yeah, and we're going
right.
down, June, July. We're
Yeah.
going to hit some rain. So it's nice to have that option.
Yes.
But and the other thing we like to research, if it's a big park, we love to get a golf cart when we're there. So we'll
absolutely,
make sure
yeah.
that's reserved.
Yep.
Or we'll find out how do we get an off-site one that they can bring it. There's a lot involved with just getting to know the lay of the land,
Mm-hmm.
I guess is the way to say it.
The best way to have a nice trip is to plan for it.
To a
To an
degree,
extent.
yeah,
Again,
definitely.
we're flexible. within
reason.
So
Okay, so from there, what do we got to do? Now we got to talk about budget.
Budget's
so
huge with
we
you.
might find 50,000 things to do.
Yeah.
We cannot do it all. And we might be like, okay, well, for this trip, we're going to do, and you could take a look at, I think it's 1 or 2 blogs ago I did what our budget was for our travel for the year. So you can look at, we're spending on average, and it's with staying and insurance and warranty stuff, like everything.
Yeah.
Food and groceries, gas, the whole thing. Our trips are costing us for 6 people about $300 a day.
Yeah.
And that's everything.
That's pretty good.
Everything.
That's pretty
Eating
good.
out, everything. So we try to stay within that kind of a budget. Now, maybe that sounds like a lot, but I don't know. If you even divided, what's 300 divided by 6?
Right.
Think about what that is per person and just realize where we're saving money here.
And to go back to what we had talked about, at one point we were looking to go to like an all-inclusive resort in the Bahamas or Atlantis, which is the Bahamas, or Jamaica or something for the 6 of us. It was going to cost us like $15,000 for a week. So
we're doing
able
pretty
to do
good.
like 40-something days.
We're all about
for the
more
same
for
price.
less.
Yeah.
So we got to keep within our budget. That's really important. So wherever
Yeah.
we can save money, we love the years like this year when gas is lower. Even if it's going up a little bit right now,
that's okay.
It's still half of what it's been some years. Regardless, we're still saving money on air flight because that always costs more. It never seems to really jive with the price of gas.
And we bought our first motorhome when the gas price was $3.99 a gallon.
And it was still cheaper than
It
flying
was cheaper.
6 of us.
But that was like, even it was a Class C, to fill it up was like $250.
Yeah.
And now I can fill up the Class A with a bigger gas tank for like $140.
Yeah.
It's totally different.
Yeah, so
it's totally different.
we decided like that helped us travel more this year.
Yes.
Because we're saving more money. So it's just, coming up with your own budget and sort of going with, and that's where we have to go sort of loose, like, tips, and we go out to eat, and you just think about all those extra things. So we always try to go with a little extra and contingency fund.
Yeah.
We'll bring, I think it's wise to have an extra credit card if there's a breakdown. Make sure everything's up to date. Just you got to go prepared as well and have
Gotta be
backup
prepared.
plans because stuff happens.
In our relationship, Kathy's the money person. You are.
I know.
I'm just making sure everybody
like I'm
knows,
surprised. Really, am I?
You're like looking at me like, duh.
And I don't mean don't say it like I control the purse strings.
Didn't say that.
I do
she
the
knows the
accounting.
budgeting.
I know how much we got.
I know what goes on, but she does it. You're like fundamentally, intrinsically involved in all the budgeting aspects of what goes on with us. So it's really kind of cool. So we're look at things like our trips are. I don't know. We do a lot. And you're not like someone who says we can't do that. It's expensive. You're like, we do it. We're on vacation. We have fun.
Yeah, absolutely.
We absolutely have fun. But within the budget, though, some things like there's some things that we do that I think they save us money. And I know this sounds kind of like I'm on tangent, but I'm really proud that you go ahead and you go through and look at the budget, and we're able to. And your eyes are looking like that. Okay. Anyways, budgeting's huge, and thank you for taking care of the budgeting like you do. In conclusion,
I was wondering where the brain was going.
I don't know. I think it's really
I was just
neat.
watching it unfold.
I think you have to have a budget, and if it was up to my own devices, I wouldn't do it like you do. And
I know.
We would not go anywhere. And you do a great job.
I do often tell you you're lucky to have me.
I am so lucky to have
And
you.
everybody, Neil's everybody's chiropractor. They always come out, and I'm the one running the office and everything, and people will say, "Oh, you're so lucky this is your husband." And I just sort of roll like, "Yes, I am. I love him dearly as my best friend." But I'm always like, he's so lucky.
And I am. And you heard that ranting going on. I am so lucky. But the big thing that I don't know if you know this, but people who know us, when that person says that and they leave, they will look at you or come in to see me and say, "You're lucky to have her." I hear it all the time.
Yes. Okay. So people don't throw up anymore now because you're gushing.
I am gushing.
Anyway, moving on to thank you. I appreciate that. All right. So we stick to the budget that Neil has nothing. He has no knowledge.
I just want to make sure everybody knows that.
Going through life going la la la.
It's so good. I just work and do my thing, and it's all good.
I just keep Neil in this little room working really hard and making people feel better.
Totally happy about that.
So we've set a budget. We try to stick to it. I try to find ways to, because my job, like Neil and I do it, but like a division of labor.
We do. It works that
we're
way.
a team.
Absolutely.
And that's the thing. And that's what I want people to understand about us is like, we fill each other's voids in,
Absolutely.
and we just balance it. We're yin and yang. We just balance. We're really lucky to have found each other because we balance each other out.
Yeah.
So things that Neil is good at, I can I can focus on something else, and that's just how we do it.
There's always been that division.
You deal with the sewer line, and I make sure there's enough food that people can use the sewer line.
I pump the gas, and you take care of all the planning of the trips.
And I can line that RV up to get the gas like nobody's business.
Yes, she can, actually.
So we just are a good team that way. So it's important that I think that whoever you're taking vacation with your family, who your co-pilot, that you guys are able to stick to the budget and be on the same page.
You have to be on the same page.
As much as we include the other kids and all that in this whole travel thing, it's like it really comes down to your partner. And for Neil and I, we just have to make sure, like, okay, this is what we're going to spend. Let's try to stay on track with this. And like this big one coming up, we've been saving for this one for months, months and months and months.
Yeah.
We live on one income and we just make it work.
Yep.
So you got to go listen to our other podcasts and blogs just to see how we do all that. We really try to share as much as we can. I'll put something up on Facebook, and I always feel really sad that someone will write, "Oh, I wish," or "Oh, someday."
That's so nice.
I wish I could do that.
Yeah.
And I could be saying the same thing too. It's not like we're making tons of money, guys. Like, we just make it really work. And if you have a goal, and we've done shows on this before, is trying to make that work. So it gets done with hard work.
It's hard work.
It's sticking to a budget. It's saving,
Planning.
saving, and sacrificing in other areas to make, because this is such a big priority for us. So,
but then again, it's priceless.
It is. It really is.
This experience that
I
we've been
wouldn't trade
having.
it for anything.
No, this experience we've been having. If you would have told me 9 years ago, I would have been like, mm-hmm.
I think you and I would be. Nobody could sell a motorhome like you and I.
Oh,
could,
no, not at
or
all.
anyone else that RV'd. If you were to sit down with somebody, like if you had any questions about whether or not you should get into RVing, talk to someone who's doing it.
Absolutely, yeah.
Go back and listen to our shows, read our blogs,
email us, whatever.
I can just sit in 20 minutes. Just sitting in our office. People will talk to us about all the time, and I could sell an RV right there.
Absolutely. I think we have.
I'm pretty sure we have.
Actually, it's I'm stuttering. One of the biggest things I think you get the biggest kick out of is when I come out to go say, "Oh, who's next?" or something like that, and there's people sitting there reading Motorhome Magazine.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what other doctor's office has Motorhome Magazine?
Usually there's Golf Digest.
Yeah,
Women's Day. We got a couple of those.
We've
too,
got, but Motorhome
there's
Magazine.
Far more Motorhome Magazine. Yeah.
RV.
Okay, so now we're at the point we've set our budget, right?
Yes.
So here's the next point, and that's where we're at right now. Okay, it's getting the motorhome ready.
Yeah, this is a big one.
So we don't want to. It's just not in our nature to like throw everything in the day before. A lot of that does happen, but there's some steps to planning that part that has to start to happen ahead of time. So I don't want to leave for a trip frantic. And like,
No.
So we start just
You mean like last time when I forgot my wallet?
Yes,
Okay.
when I had to do a 3-point turn with a 38-foot RV in the middle of a road.
Yeah.
Not that. But we just start taking steps to make sure things are getting ready. We talked earlier about, the lock, and we got a new rug this year. We've got the tow dolly ready. We've got to get the locks for the tow dolly. We are checking to make sure. We just like the tent. We're having our oldest likes to stay in the tent. It gives us a little extra room.
So we have to talk about the tent then, if we could.
Yeah.
So what we've done with the tent, because he likes his own room and he likes his own privacy, and he's 22 years old, and this is how he's liked it, and it's always worked for him.
So we've always brought along
We've
this
always
extra,
had a tent.
like a 4-person. You can almost stand up in it. It's a good sized tent.
We put a queen mattress in. He glamps it. It is a glamping tent.
He even decorates.
And so what we've done, and I don't want to offend anybody, but this has been the coolest thing, is we cut a hole in the side of the tent, and we put an air conditioner in there for him.
Well, when you're down there, when we go, and it's almost 100 degrees, you have to. And other people that we've seen that have done it, I know this isn't like, ecologically friendly, but the kids got
We're glamping.
Well, and it was hot. There's been a couple of years we didn't have that, and just some fans, and he was dying. So that's just not safe. So we actually, we slid a hole, like I don't know, just a slit in it.
Yeah.
We got we put up the little air conditioner, just a little window air conditioner venting out, and we duct tape around it, and he stays cool in there.
He stays cool. And I asked him, we were just talking about it, I'm like, because we bought him a new tent.
Yeah, the other tent had it.
It had a couple holes in it.
We had about 5 or 6 years. Plus the other kids, they've taken them on trips and things like that. So it's gotten its use. It doesn't owe us anything. So we got a new one, and we're so excited because it also matches.
There'll be pictures.
It's red and black and
We're
gray.
glampers.
And then we have a new carpet that matches. The whole thing is going to look so good.
So excited.
So these things make us happy.
But the air conditioner worked for him.
Yeah.
He loves it.
So we got that all ready. Like that was just something, boom, take that off the list. So this is when you want to bring out your checklist and start getting things together. And making sure things like, we got to do a walkthrough. Big trips like the one we're about to go on. We're going to be gone for half a month. We took it to the dealer. We had a couple things that needed fixing.
Yep. We had that generator issue that they fixed.
The generator, because I'm not going down there again. We drove back one trip and the generator kept dying. We had to keep the generator on driving through the south. It was 104 in the RV, outside the RV. I'm not sure what it was inside, but we were melting.
It was bad.
And you really need to keep the generator on to turn the air on and off, to cool down the RV. It's like a hot box driving down the 95.
It really felt like it.
We felt sick.
Yeah.
So to avoid that happening again, hopefully the problem's solved. So we're just going through making sure as much, accidents happen, things happen, but whatever we can do to prevent anything that's avoidable is what we're going to do. We get the tires checked. We make sure there's propane. There's, just everything checked, a little walkthrough, making sure it's all good. And so we got that taken care of. So we're just starting to do these things weeks ahead. So we're not like, oh my gosh, last minute.
Yeah, we don't do last minute, and you have to do, like we've talked about this a few times. There's preventative maintenance, and then there's just like you got to just check everything.
Yeah, make sure the slide outs are working, lubing stuff, the whole thing. So we start getting that ready. Then we get the checklist together, and we start what we call our stockpile.
Yes.
So as I'm going to the store, because to me there's nothing worse than going and spending $500 the day before you're about to leave, getting all your groceries.
Right.
I like picking up, I did keep from the last trip a lot of the shampoo and soaps and all of those sort of things I leave in the RV. But we recently went to the RV to go check on it and bring, I don't know why we stopped by to bring something there.
I think we dropped something. Yeah, I think so.
And I went and looked in the bathroom again. I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm going to need so much more of this, this, and this. So I made a little list. And I've been buying that. As I go and get groceries for every week for our home, okay, I'm going to get, there's bags starting, our little stockpile that we
still
have.
do like the table off to the side.
There's a table off to the side that we just start stockpiling, and I'll get the dry goods, the ketchup, all of those things that, non-perishable things, plus the bathroom things, make sure the first aid kit's up to snuff, making sure, because they outdate some of the creams.
Oh, yeah.
I got new suntan lotion. It's going to be hot summer. They're saying it's going to be record hot all across the country, so I got extra of that.
And while we're in Orlando, if it's possible, can it not rain?
No.
Oh.
So
I was hopeful about that.
That won't happen.
Oh.
I guarantee you. We also decorate when we go down
we have
there.
To decorate.
Like it was Easter for the last trip. Well, this time we go down, it's going to be the 4th of July.
Yep.
We're going to be at Disney. Everybody decorates.
You have to. There's even a parade.
We have got a golf cart for when we're there, so we've got all the decorations for that. I went to Party City and like those kinds of places, and looking at the flags I just picked up the other day, like, oh yeah, we'll get those. I mean, we decorate even the bushes around. It's ridiculous.
Got lights and everything.
Oh yeah,
going.
we go for it. So we just start like getting all that stuff done, and I get as much of like the dry goods and shampoos and all that kind of stuff that we can get. And you're thinking about like the hoses, and we got more. The drop-ins for the toilet, and
I go through my toolbox. I make sure we have
yeah.
extension cords. I make sure
and that they're in good order because they can break over time, break down.
Yep.
So that's something that's what we're in the mode of right now.
Yeah,
that's where we're at. So and that's like 3 weeks out. Okay. Next, we start...
I'm getting overwhelmed. We've got a lot to do.
Yes, but I know it's coming close when the magic bands came in the mail the other day.
Awesome.
And we're like, OMG.
And what color are you this year?
I'm purple.
Yay.
I'm purple. I'm excited.
I think that's a new color.
Yeah. So, we're doing Disney on this one, but then we're doing a couple other places too. So I'm really excited about... And we even have some friends going down at the same time. We're going to try to connect with them, go out to eat. It's going to be a totally different kind of...
It's going to be fun. I'm excited.
Orlando trip that we've done. And then heading up to D.C. after, going to White House, Capitol.
Yeah.
We've done D.C. a few times, so we're trying to see what else we can fit in, depending on what times are getting assigned us for the White House. It's just going to be a fun trip.
It's going to be a fun trip.
We're going to need a vacation from this vacation, though. I know it. It's
a
lot. We're going to get our 20,000 steps in. Never mind 10, 20,000 steps in a day.
Easy.
So as we're getting closer, so I can see us in the next couple of weeks, we don't always keep all the apps on our phone, on our smartphones, because it just like uses up memory space and all that.
Yeah.
So we start loading up. It's getting close to the trip when we're loading up our apps that we use on our trips.
Yeah.
You want to talk about which ones we like?
Well, we use a few of them. Number one, we've already talked about TripAdvisor. So TripAdvisor, as you guys know, there's an app for it. So if you're in an area, you could actually just press the button, see what's in your local area, and see what's best rated restaurant or hotel or whatever.
I want to come up with an app.
We should, but I can't. I don't know anything like that.
I'm not smart like that.
I can't do that.
We have a son that could do that.
He could do it, but he's busy.
He's busy.
A couple of years, we'll figure it out.
Yeah.
The other thing we also, the apps we use are our GPS. We right now are using the one that comes with the iPhone. We have iPhones, but we've also used Google Maps a few times, and both of them are very good. The one thing I would recommend is this has happened to us when you're looking at the apps. Sometimes it'll tell you while you're driving, slow road, quicker this way by 5 minutes. Don't do it when you're in an RV. Because we've done that and gotten off and gone on the detour only to have it go through a residential road and really end up, we were behind the guy who was in front of us one time.
Yeah.
So and it was like, I wouldn't say harrowing's a word, but
it was.
It was harrowing.
So it depends on your RV
yeah.
size. I mean, we're, what are we, 12.6?
Yeah, we're 12.6,
and 38 long.
feet.
So, I just did the blog and we did a show about knowing your size. And, there are some places, like there are some sites you can check out that have RV ready or RV recommended roads. And they're all main roads.
There's a GPS that you can get that's an RV GPS. And I think Good Sam's, a couple other places have them. Magellan has it.
But they're main roads.
They're main roads.
I don't know if I found that too helpful.
Yeah, you don't go through anything.
Yeah.
Just if you stick to the main roads. The other app that we use now, and I'm loving this one, is the Flying J.
Yeah.
So
we used that in our last trip, and there is no other gas station. Again, know your size.
Know your size.
Best when you have the 38-foot long
and
RV,
towing a car.
And now towing a car.
Yeah.
So this is a whole other. I'm a little. I just want to get in it and feel that, and just drive it around.
Okay.
Because I'm not used to that. I know it will, but I just need to feel it. I'm an experiential learner.
Oh, absolutely.
And I need to just feel that and make sure I'm comfortable and. Because I'm anticipating.
I towed the car down on a flat towed car.
Yeah, so you did this already.
Using a Penske rental truck with not great brakes,
right.
all the way to Florida. If we can do that, we can absolutely tow it with the tow dolly.
Yeah, I'm not nervous. No. I just want to experience it and just so okay, I got this.
But we can't easily go into gas stations anymore. And even before, we've always had a little bit of we've made it happen in some places. But
not easily.
It's not easy. So we found in the last couple of trips we've gone on, Flying J, gas RV only lanes are great. Gas pumps are on both sides. They even have a dump involved too, if you wanted a dump or even get air. So
they usually have a big
up.
super shop, like even RV parts. Like they got everything you could possibly need. So it's very RV friendly. So that's how we're doing it from now on. I like to get my camera filters together. I like this one.
You do love that.
Because I do a lot of the social media stuff, so I like to have filters. Instagram has this one that you can do like a collage, and so I put all that stuff up on there too. And I know we like looking at Yelp, and Ian introduced us to Waze, W-A-Z-E.
But it's you basically can tell traffic patterns.
Yeah, so a little different than the GPS. But again, you still have to think about your RV size and stuff like that.
I think it's more like a Yelpish kind of thing, where
people
they're going in and they're writing like cops ahead, accident ahead, and they're letting you know what's going on. I didn't say cops. I meant police officers or law enforcement officials.
Right.
Not cops. But they have like...
We don't speed in that thing.
Nope, we sure can't.
So I'm wondering why my son is so onto that.
I don't want to know. But basically you're able to see traffic patterns because people will say accident reported ahead, construction zone ahead, and you get a good idea of what's going on. I'm going to try to use it this trip, see if it works.
Okay.
And then one of the ones that we use a lot is...
we love Open Table.
Open Table.
That's just a good way for reservations because we do go out to eat. We're glamping after all. And then, of course, you want to load up, like Neil likes to listen to podcasts.
I do love my podcast.
Nerdist, things like that.
Yes.
And RV Glamping Adventures has a great podcast.
Oh, I listen to them
We usually
every
download
week.
Some books on Kindle. And, you want to just get that stuff all going. It's just all that stuff you can do ahead of time. It's like just one of those steps that you're like, it's getting closer.
It's getting so close.
So then we were thinking about what else do we do in this time frame. It's thinking about, now the kids are older, so we don't have to think about, I used to buy like new games, a couple, you know what we used to love were those books with the magic pens.
Yes.
Oh my God, they'd be like, get them, or like Mad Libs.
Mad Libs was like,
We'd always have like a couple new games for the trip.
Mad Libs would be like a couple hours.
They always back then had their DSs and that kind of thing and would hook those up. But we had games, we'd have movies that they could pop in at the time with their laptops.
Yeah.
I mean, now they're older. I don't have to think about that stuff, but I thought it was worth bringing up for you guys to think about. Like, these are fun things to make the trip. Because for us, the trip starts when we start driving.
Yes.
So it's making memories on the road. And now, though, they're 13 up to 22. They bring their own
computers,
stuff,
yeah,
technology.
I don't even know what they bring.
I don't even know where they are.
No, they sleep.
They sleep. One of our sleeps pretty much 20
the
hours.
whole time.
But we're also thinking about, we bring little Billy, our little dog, who's family.
Yeah, we need to make sure that she has her stuff.
Yeah, I think it was our second show. If you went back to our second show, we did a whole, I don't know how the quality is, but we did a whole show on, for
Traveling
kids
with
and
pets.
dogs, traveling with others, like, other family members. You want to make sure you're bringing stuff that's going to make the trip easier, especially if you got to think about the pets. Like, I have to make sure Billy's got her blanket. We've got her dog food, her treats, her
her
leash.
dog bed that she doesn't like.
I know she didn't like the dog bed. I got her a new one. That didn't do it for her.
No.
Making sure, like, going down that her shots are up to date, that she has a collar for fleas and ticks, and like just all of those things. Making sure Billy goes and gets dollied up before we go. She has a
spa appointment.
She has a spa day a couple days before we leave, so she gets clipped up and
nails done and everything.
It's so hot down there. We get her hair cut real short. Like, just those kinds of things, too. Not just for the kids, for the dogs.
Something we found that really works with Billy lately, and it's just, as she's gotten older, she might have gotten a little bit more anxious. She's a little dog.
She's a little bit more anxious
nowadays. A little bit more anxious. We've got her the, what's that name of the collar?
It's a collar that has pheromone to it, and there's
lavender.
like a lavender and a pheromone. You could buy it like at a PetSmart.
I knew the name of it.
And I don't know what the name of the brand is, but it definitely calmed her down. And it actually smelled nice. Yeah. So it gives this pheromone of like the mother, because she just she loves the RV. But it just takes the edge off a little bit for her. Change for her, once she's in there, she's fine. But sometimes there's just a little bit of an adjustment, or I don't know. She just is like, "Where are we going? What's going on?"
Yeah, what's going on?
And it
guys?
just sort of, it doesn't do anything other than just gives her like just relax. And it's all natural. There's
it's not like catnip or anything. It's just a nice little
It's just they recommended it at the vets there, so that's something you might want to check out too. Okay, so now we're down to, I've done a lot of the grocery shopping, but pretty much a day to 2 days before I'm doing the big. I'm talking the fridge freezer shopping, because we try to put it right into the RV and right into the fridge. Yeah. And Neil's also filling up the water tank.
Yes.
And that always is like, okay, we're leaving in 2 days.
Yeah, that's a big one.
So we try to get as much ready. Like I said, our plan is like we just get up and go. So whatever we can get done, make sure everything's, whatever we don't have that we need up until the day before, it's in.
Yes.
And then you and I write down now, because we're getting forgetful as we get older.
We keep a list.
There might be a list of like 10 things to make sure we bring our own pillows, because we just like our pillows.
Yes.
The coffee maker.
And we have pillows in the RV too.
The vitamins.
Yes.
We do. But there's usually about 10 things that we use
and stuff.
Up until the night before. No, even most of those are in. Yeah. And it's like that morning, we just get that list out so we don't forget those last 10 things. Like wallet should go on that, I'm thinking.
I actually had
money.
I forgot a jacket and my wallet.
Well, you were just being passive-aggressive on the jacket. You didn't think you needed it in Florida.
Yeah, I bought one.
And it was freezing.
Yeah, it was stupid. And then we've actually gone on a trip before. I think we were down in South Carolina when we realized we did bring cash.
Yeah. So I had to get my parents to go deposit the money we left at home.
Yeah.
We've done it all, folks.
Yes,
and if you can learn from us, that's better for you. All right, so everything we can, I usually will plan a menu of like what meals I'm cooking and, for lunch. So I make sure as much food as we can. Now, again, this time is going to be a little different. I can run, not easily, because once you're in Orlando and Disney, you're not too close to a grocery store, but and they do sell some things. It's very limited, but they sell some things at their store. But like we can go and replenish, and that's our plan, because we're gone for half a month. So we're going to be able to have a card this time and not have to worry so much about, what if I run out of eggs? What if I run out of this? It doesn't matter. I can take the car. All right, so the night before, what do we need? What
sleep.
do we need?
We need sleep.
A good night's
thank God.
sleep.
You looked at me, I was like, we need sleep.
Yeah, even though we're excited, it doesn't matter how
Yeah,
old
but-
you are. You still get excited before you go on vacation.
How hard is it? I don't know. Maybe you can fall asleep a little easier.
Oh, I fall asleep, but then I'm up at 4 going, we should get up now.
I lay there staring like I'm so excited. I can't wait. We're going. And then by the time I fall asleep, then the alarm goes off.
Yeah, well.
So
What you need is a good night's sleep
Yes.
so we can arrive alive. You know, you really should not be behind. We both partner up and we each drive 50-50.
yes.
And, you know, you need a good night's sleep because that first day we kick out most of the drive. We drive 16 hours
16
the first
hours.
day.
Yeah, we leave at 7 a.m.
Our
and don't really
goals-
stop until 11.
Right, we get as far as we can the first day because the second day, even though we'll stop and we'll sleep 6-7 hours or so, you're tired, you
Yes.
know, and I don't want to be on the road. You know, let's say we drove 8-9 hours, and you got to go with I mean, some people can only do a couple hours in the day.
Right.
For us, because we tag team, we each take turns. We each drive twice. I'll start, Neil goes, I take over, and we stop, have lunch, have dinner, you know, get gas. But other than that, we don't stop too much. And I think we're mostly going on. We're very alert because we're excited.
Yeah.
We're going on adrenaline, and we're excited to get down there. So by day 2, you're like, I just want to get there.
Yeah.
So we try to bang out. We just know us. So for us, we do better when we drive the most the first day.
It's always
And then
work.
the second day, this year we're going to be going starting off at Flagler Beach. It's only about a 2.5
2
hour
hours
drive.
from where we stop.
And then we're good. So, and then we've got a couple days there, and then we're 45 minutes from Disney.
We actually only have 1 day there.
Well, it's 2 days of time spent, though.
That's true.
So it works out pretty good. But, you know, basically we need a good night's sleep.
We do need sleep.
Want to get up, have a cup of coffee, sit there for a minute, and then we load up, we get washed up, load up, and go.
Yeah.
We're on the road between 6 and 7 in the morning. So, you know, it's an early morning start, but we're good to go because we're refreshed and we're ready to get on the road.
The kids love it because they just go right back to sleep.
We just wake them up and put them, say, go in there, and then they go back to sleep till noon. All right, and then the very last thing we do before we head out is we definitely do a walkabout.
Absolutely.
Make sure we check our checklist.
Yes. Make sure all the vents are closed on the outside, all the
Things
doors
are
are
locked,
locked.
and the storage, like just everything.
The car's attached properly.
Yeah,
just
we
everything.
just do one last check,
Yep.
and then you're good to go, and the trip starts for us. So, and that's, like I said, we're 21 days and counting, and
Can't wait.
we're excited. We'd love to hear from you guys and what trips you have coming up this summer. We love feedback. You know how to get a hold of us. Neil, let them know.
You can get a hold of us at rvglampingadventures@gmail.com. You can also find us on Facebook at RV Glamping Adventures. Check out Kathy's blogs and our website at www.rvglampingadventures.com. We're also on Twitter at RV Glampers, and we're also on Instagram.
RV Glampers.
RV Glampers. Check us out. Have a great week.
Oh, and you can also find us on YouTube.
Oh, yeah, we have YouTube.
The show's been on there. We're going to be doing a lot more videos now that we've got some stuff coming up. So you'll be seeing some new videos coming up on
Actually,
cooking and
there'll be
all
a lot
sorts
of videos
stuff.
in the next couple of weeks. Yeah, this is going to be fun.
It's going to
Check
kick
out the
that up
videos.
a little bit more. So have a great week, and we'll talk to you next week.
Take care.